Hi, I'm Michael Wargo, team pilot with Precision Aerobatics and Hobbyking, and today I'm going to do a set of videos that I've really been wanting to do for a while. And I know I do a lot of things for beginners and people, helping them to learn the maneuvers, but today we're going to try and focus these 3 lessons on how to go from being a good pilot, a competent pilot who can hover and do a lot of the 3D stuff, and just get him to that next level to be a great pilot. We're going to be discussing today more how to lose your fear of the ground. In order to be a really great pilot and look really impressive and to get to that next level, you just have to lose your fear of the ground. And I know it sounds a bit crazy, but it's easier than you think. You just have to kind of get used to being there. One of the reasons that I look a bit more fearless of the ground is because I'm there quite a lot. It's not unusual. And to be honest with you, I really don't take chances with the aircraft. Whenever the plane is that close to the ground, I really feel like I have it. We've explained the principal theories behind getting low and staying low, which is really good throttle control. But let's take a look at how to be a little more fearless when you're close to the ground, and a couple of steps to help get you there. Also, this video is going to get into, on the second lesson, a bit more of the really difficult maneuvers that you have to practice that help you transition into a great pilot. Just because you can hover doesn't make you a good pilot. Just because you can rolling Harrier doesn't make you a great pilot. What makes you a great pilot is control of the aircraft. So we're going to show you some of the straight line maneuvers and very difficult maneuvers that you can put on your agenda and start practicing today. They're not easy, they take a lot of practice, but the dividends paid are tremendous. And finally, we're going to look at routines and fast snapping things and combination maneuvers on how to get you to that next level, or at least look like you're at that really great pilot level. Comfortable low to the ground starts with just flying and harrying low to the ground. There's a lot of exercises that you can do to try and get yourself a little more comfortable with the ground. But the plane isn't going to hit the ground. It flies the same up at 20 feet as it does at 3 feet, maybe with a little ground effect changing things a little bit. But for the most part, once you're down low and you have good control of the throttle, being this low isn't a situation where you might need to panic. As long as you know the parameters, you know what your plane is going to do, you can flip really low, you can do anything you want really low to the ground. Knife edging low, everything is done purely, absolutely purely with throttle control. So now here's some of the maneuvers, of course, that we can get low to the ground with and change it with throttle control and get really, really close. Now, first of all, I told you before, the way to get comfortable with the ground is to start high, come low, and arrest the sink with the throttle. These are all things I'm not going to go over the techniques, obviously, because this is more for advanced pilots. But get down low. Don't be afraid to get down low. In fact, get down low enough and just take it from here and just land it from here. Drag the tail from here, upright. As you're practicing coming down knife edge low, you can see what I'm doing. I'm just arresting the sink with the throttle. I got a lot of rudder. I'm gonna add a little more throttle right where the ground comes in. Now these are the techniques to help you get comfortable down low. The other one is, I think hovering down low is the first big step to being comfortable low. And from here, I'm going to go to a foamy, and I'm going to do some things that I believe are really going to be helpful in helping you learn how to do this. But as you're hovering, especially with a light plane like this one, just let it fall a little bit. Let it go. Not too much, but see, we can bring it right down to the deck and just play around there and watch what the throttle is doing and start to get comfortable like that. Now I'm going to land, and I'm going to put a foamy in my hand, and I'm just going to let the thing fall, hit the ground, and show you how it really isn't going to hurt very much. This particular plane, you don't want to crack it or break it, or if you're flying giant scale, of course, you know, you've got to be a bit more vigilant when approaching the ground. But one of the ways that I find very useful to get used to the ground is to use a foamy, and the EPO or the EPP stuff is perfect because it's very resilient. Okay, to me, this is the key to getting comfortable down low. You take a plane that if it hits the ground isn't much of a problem. This plane has hit the ground more times than I can count, unfortunately. It's been repaired 50 times, I think. But as you're coming down, let's say you make a mistake and you just screw up. Watch what happens. Nothing. Now you're going to watch what happens. Just try and get down low, inverted like this. Now watch what happens if you hit the ground. Nothing. This time we're going to come down low on knife edge, and we're going to hit the ground. Once again, not much of a problem, is it? So my suggestion is to start by getting that Harrier down low. And if it gets a little too low or it gets wonky or anything, no matter what happens, it's okay if it hits the ground. This thing can survive a drop much higher than this, but theoretically, the lower you are, the safer you are. So again, try and get it down low. And I've worked with pilots that hover and do everything so well, but when it comes to getting down low, once they get below this, you know, everything starts to pucker and everything starts to get nerve-wracking, and the whole dynamic of their flying changes to being very nervous. And this is about getting to that next level. So if you want to get to the next level, you've got to face your fears and you got to do it. You have to take the chance, otherwise you'll gain nothing. You'll never get any better at it than you are. Whoops, see? So again, my suggestion is to actually just let it hit the ground a few times, see what it feels like. You know, if you start to do a rolling Harrier, you know, this is a dangerous maneuver low. Okay, that hit the ground on purpose because of the battery died. But again, no problem. Suffice it to say, you know, it's probably a good idea to, you know, go ahead and let your plane come down and hit the ground a few times, you know, just to kind of lose your fears of it, especially with the particular aircraft. But another part of this lesson on getting used to being low to the ground, there is a dynamic when you're low, as it's rolling, to be in control of the attitude. And that's something that I think everybody who wants to get low really has to learn. You know, now there's a big difference between doing a rolling Harrier low and having some sort of cadence and watching the nose and it kind of working. But there's a whole nother thing that you should be working on, and that is, instead of just rolling, roll half, you know, to the first level and keep the nose up. Half roll to the nose up again. Half roll to nose up again. Half roll to nose up again. Just to really feel what it feels like to be low and be using that rudder and switching and turning to keep that nose up. I think it's a really important exercise, and I would try and just do that as low as you possibly can. And just start to get comfortable. When you're low, you're only going to be hovering or rolling. And if you're hovering or rolling, just being comfortable with the angles and attitudes is what has to be practiced. Because this level of comfort is only possible if you're, you know, if you've done it a bunch of times. Another thing that I like to do, you know, kind of low, is to, you know, flip the plane and come out low like that, okay? So do it up a little higher. You see it made the loop pretty easy that way. Let's try it a little lower. Add throttle. And just gradually get more and more comfortable with it getting a little bit lower. All these are really good exercises, and even on this maneuver, if it should hit the ground, it is not the end of the world. Decided to not let it hit the ground, but you understand what I'm saying here is as the plane is rolling, the plane is doing anything, start getting comfortable with attitudes low. Something that helped me was doing point rolls low. 1, 2, 3, 4, you know, and just trying to get used to watching the plane at all angles of that point roll. Obviously the varying throttles is making it go up and down, but you're going to get used to catching it. You're going to get used to adjusting it. And when you're up high like this, you know, it's just different. If you're up high, you know, the plane could fall 15 feet and it won't matter, so you're not reacting. But when you're at the ground, you react. So take, you know, maneuvers that you're doing, start doing them lower and lower and lower. You know, even coming out of a flat spin or something like that. So you can come out pretty low, and then the next time come out a little bit lower. The next time come out just a bit lower, see? Again, but you lose fear gradually, not all at once. And again, I don't see any reason why you can't take a plane like this and just let it come down and just land on its canopy just to see how it feels and see that it's not going to do any damage. As a really funny coincidence, I literally was shooting this the same day and had an incident right at the ground as a coincidence with a balsa plane this time, which of course is not recommended. But as you can see, nothing happened. I certainly can't guarantee nothing will ever happen or you won't break something, but I really feel you should take the chance. It's worth it.